2022 is the year that there will be more Mustangs in holding than there are left in the wild. The BLM has plans to round up 20,000 more Mustangs in 2022, bringing their total number of Mustangs in holding up to 80,000. And the U.S. Forest Service also has many roundups planned for this coming year. Most U.S. Forest Service horses have no protection whatsoever, as they are categorized as stray livestock, and most of them go straight to public auction. With so many Mustangs needing homes and so many unwanted Mustangs, I feel that it's necessary to aid the adoption of as many Mustangs into good homes as possible. One of the roadblocks that people sometimes have when considering adopting a Mustang is the stereotype that Mustangs are sometimes hard to train. This stereotype is not true. Mustangs simply require trust to be formed between them and humans. And once their trust is gained, they are amazing partners and we can do beautiful things together. I'm Kourtney Hardy, the founder of Nirvana Mustang Sanctuary, and in this series, I'm going to take you step by step through the training process we will be using to take Mustangs from wild to willing partner. I focus on empathetic and relationship-based processes that allow a fulfilling relationship to develop for both human and horse, fostering true connection and creating an equine partner that you can depend on. Throughout the series, you'll learn the principles and fundamentals necessary to help yourself and your horse flourish while gentling a completely untouched wild Mustang. Even if you don't have a Mustang or you don't intend to adopt a Mustang, this series is packed with useful information that you can use to connect with and train any horse, so I hope you'll stick around. With all that being said, welcome. Let's head to the BLM adoption event and pick out our wild Mustang. As you can see, there was a very nice selection of horses available at this event. If you are looking for a certain size horse or a certain color horse, you can definitely find the Mustang to suit your needs. Unlike their domestic counterparts, Mustangs are extremely versatile and can go in pretty much any direction that you want. You can take them into English riding, hunter jumper. You can go into dressage. You can go into trail. You can go into reining. You can even just use your Mustang for your trusty trail partner or the horse you ride around your property. Mustangs evolved over millions of years in some of the toughest environments in the United States. This means that they are able to withstand a lot that a normal horse wouldn't, which means that they're typically a little bit easier to care for than their domestic counterparts. One of our followers asked me to explain how I go about choosing a Mustang from this pen of about 25. There are two factors that I want to assess when choosing my Mustang, and those are conformation and disposition. We'll get back to conformation when we get our Mustang home, but I want to talk to you about disposition right now. As I'm walking around looking in these pens, I'm paying attention to what horses are closest to the human activity, what horses are turned around with their butts to the human activity, ignoring the humans, what horses are more attentive, what horses perk up their ears and pop their head up quicker when they notice human activity, and which horses are being pushed around the pen and which horses are pushing others around the pen. You can easily tell from these actions which horse has a more calm and cool disposition versus the Mustangs that tend to be a little bit more reactive. I'm also looking to see if these horses are extremely bonded to each other, and if something spooks them, how quickly do they calm down. A more anxious horse is typically going to take more time, patience, and repetition throughout the training process, whereas a horse that gets excited and then calms down very quickly, such as this Palomino paint here, will tend to be a little bit easier to train and a little more docile and willing to connect with a human. While in the pens, I'm also making sure that none of the Mustangs I'm considering have any wonky gaits or any lumps or bumps anywhere on their body where they're not supposed to be. After my husband and I each chose the Mustang we wanted, the BLM promptly proceeds to load them into the trailer for us. As you can see, I ended up choosing the Palomino Pinto, and my husband chose this beautiful red roan. Now that we're home, I thought I would talk to you guys a little bit about conformation. So, the most basic thing we're looking for when looking at conformation is if we draw a circle around the shoulder, barrel, and the hip, are all three circles roughly the same size? This tells us that the horse is balanced and that they will carry themselves in a more proper manner and be able to push more from the hind end rather than pulling from the front end. Second, we really want to look at the skeletal structure of the legs. We want to make sure that the legs come straight down underneath the body and don't come too far forward or too far back on either front or hind legs. We also need to look from the front and the rear to make sure that the horse's legs face forward and aren't turned out to the side. And we need to make sure that they don't have any fundamental hoof issues that we can see. As you can see, this guy looks pretty good. And our last factor when assessing conformation is the horse's neck. Do they have a super thick, unproportionate neck that's going to affect their movement and make them a little bit front heavy? Or do they have a nice neck that fits the size of their body that isn't tied in too high or too low? Conformation is a very extensive topic, so if you'd like me to go more in depth on the aspects of conformation, please just let me know and I'd be happy to make that for you guys. I've decided to name this beautiful guy Sundancer, and I hope you'll join me and watch his journey from wild to willing partner.